All right, it's time to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers this morning. And I have with me, joining me on Skype, Smart Akwejo, a public affairs analyst. Smart, good morning.
Good morning, Mike, and thank you for having me this morning.
Great, nice to see you. Okay, let's begin with the Leadership newspaper. Leadership says, on insurgency, northern governors seek probe of Melafia's allegations, say claims too weighty to be swept under the carpet. And DSS quizzes former CBN deputy governor, I'm ready to die for my people. Melafia is saying this. And the ACF, Middle Belt, Balarabe Musa, others all react to the interview of Dr. Obadiah Melafia. From the Leadership, let's go to Blueprint now. Blueprint newspaper says the NGF on insurgency and banditry says Melafia's claim on governor's Boko Haram membership weighty, and DSS grills releases ex-CBN boss. And I didn't corroborate my allegation, Melafia admits, and banditry in Northwest reducing. Rufai and Bello are saying this. Gunmen kill one, kidnap two in Katsina. Police kill one in Delta. Right, those are some of the stories on the Blueprint newspaper. Now, from there, let's go to the national economy. A national economy says manufacturers, operators push for port reforms post-COVID-19, and says exercise will drive efficiency, bolster revenue. That's the national economy. News Direct is where we go next. News Direct says illegal taxes on mining operations, federal government to deduct allocations of states, local government councils, and double taxation driving out investors. Lai Mohammed is saying this. That's the Minister of Information. From News Direct, let's go to Daily Times. Daily Times is talking about something else, Ogoni cleanup, endless wait for restoration, fair play. Okay. As endless wait for restoration and fair play on the Ogoni cleanup. All right, from there, let's go to Daily Trust. Daily Trust says COVID-19 hits 586 local government areas. Expert blame citizens' non-compliance to guidelines. And Federal Executive Council approves 8.49 billion naira for test kits. And health workers threaten strike over welfare. Okay. All right, that's the Daily Trust right now. One issue that will interest a lot of Nigerians now that has been on the front burner all the while is the issue of the Ogoni cleanup. And one of the papers have that this morning, Daily Times. All right, I have also joining me from Abuja, Alfred Kemepadu. He is joining us from our Abuja studio. Alfred, good morning, and nice to have you join me right now.
Good morning, good morning.
Great. Now, let me start with you. We're looking at the story on the front page of the Daily Times. Ogoni cleanup, endless wait for restoration and fair play. This issue has been on the front burner for years. Let me start with you before I go to Smart. The government has said that the cleanup is ongoing and that progress has been made. You are from the Niger Delta. You have been to all of those places. Can you give us updates? What is really going on?
Don't forget that the Ogoni cleanup was one of the first things the president flagged off when he became president about 5 years ago. Until today, we are still talking about how it's going to start. That should suggest to any rational being that the cleanup is still a scam. Nothing is going on. You can only best describe the cleanup as a media cleanup, but practically on ground, nothing reasonable is going on. But monies are exchanging hands. But let me also mention that the cleaning up of the Ogoni is not just a problem peculiar to the people of Ogoni. The whole of the Niger Delta is messed up. Ogoni would have been a good start, made a good start, expanding to other parts of the Niger Delta, which needs cleanup and preparing the Niger Delta for the post-oil economy. But as we speak today, nothing reasonable is going on. Instead, our environment is polluted more and more every day.
All right. Smart, let me bring you in here. They talk about the issue of Ogoni cleanup, and like Alfred has said, he has said nothing is really going on. But what do you feel is the challenge here? Because since the UNEP report, a lot of Nigerians, and especially those from the Niger Delta, had this hope that something was going to change about the pollution of the Niger Delta.
Said that I am not happy with the information management of this present administration. And how do I mean? If you feel something is going on, you see, this is not, there should not even be controversy, there should not be argument. Take the news, take newsmen to the venue, to this center where things are going on. Let us have a review of what it is before now, and let us have an assessment report of what we are doing now. You see, that is where, so now let the people judge. But if you say things are going on, perhaps what are going on are paperwork, because most of these things that you see also, the simple fact is that there are more of paperwork than more of physical work. And it is until after the paperwork is being concluded that you now begin to see the physical work. So if that is what is going on, let the people know that this is what is going on. But if you say something is going on and you're not telling people what is going on, and the people there are saying, this is our land, this is the Ogoni that we are talking about, please, can you show us what is going on? And we see all these things trend on social media. Then you now begin to doubt: are we believing the government, or this is a sabotage, or it is, or the people are playing politics with it? So it all boils down again to the information management of the government. If something is going on, please let us see what is going on. It is unfortunate because of course I followed this critically when it was launched. It was supposed to provide employment for indigenous of that area, and even before the employment, they were supposed to train. There's supposed to be a capacity training for some of those people that will be engaged. Have this capacity training been done? Have you moved to sites? Are you sensitizing these people? I have always said this government has fantastic package, fantastic reforms, but however, the government is not adequately sensitizing the people. When you are coming up with a program, before even the implementation, before even the implementation, that now at the conceptualization stage, and when you have finally approved it, go and sensitize the people that this is what we are doing for you. Now, what is your view? Give us feedback. Then you now come into implementation. But where you just say you are doing something, and it's only you in the cabinet that are seeing it, and the people that is even meant for are not seeing it, then there is a problem. So my gross with this government is that stop doing the talking. Let us see the physical. So sometime during the week, 2 weeks ago, a little digress on the second Niger bridge. Some video went viral. Say this is second Niger bridge, and it went, and you see that shut the mouth of so many people that said nothing is going on. It is just politics. And I think the government should do further. Come up with a monthly a press brief of what you are doing, and take the press people there. What does it cost you to move the press there, to move the press crew of the federal government there? Bring them from all the media houses, both including online media, including the social and the print media. Bring everybody together. Let them go and see. Physically go and see. Yeah. And when they come back, they will share it among their past, and that will shut them out. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think anything is going on. I don't think anything is going on.
All right. Well, Smart, the point there is Nigerians will agree with you, because if the work is going on, the people themselves will publicize this. Like you said, the video on the second Niger bridge had gone viral, and people are seeing the progress that's been done there on daily basis. Alfred, let me come back to you here. Sometimes we hear reports of indigents of Niger Delta, sometimes chiefs or people who hold certain leadership in enclaves frustrate the effort of government, especially when they want to be seen and consulted or to be settled one way or the other before work is done. What do you say to this?
Sorry, take it again, please.
Now, Alfred, if you can hear me, I'm asking that sometimes we hear reports of indigents of Niger Delta, sometimes leaders, sometimes youth, sometimes even traditional chiefs, sometimes asking for certain settlement before some work is carried out in parts of the Niger Delta. What do you say to this?
Yes, we experience that in some places, but that's not the total story. We experience that in some places, and I can assure you that we are dealing with it, and most of it has been dealt with. But sometimes these issues are also promoted by the so-called contractors who try to go on ground to do job that is less than standard, thereby trying to get people from the communities to compromise the collaborative monitoring of this project. So this happens, and I will come on national television not to defend it, but to condemn it. But as a matter of fact, that is not only peculiar to the Niger Delta. I'm very sure that you have heard of the Omoniles in the Lagos you stay, where you even buy a property that you have legally owned, but they still try to. So it's not peculiar. But so what I'm trying to say is that these things exist, but it is not an excuse for any underdevelopment to be deployed into any environment. It can be sorted, it can be taken care of. No. However, I must also mention that every contract that is issued, whether in the Niger Delta or any other part of Nigeria, it is expected of the contractor and the firms to engage the locals as a form of enriching the local content. After all, if you give a contract of ₦1 billion in the Niger Delta, the whole of the funds is also expected to develop the people of the Niger Delta by form of other small and medium contractors. That is even not trying to mention the problems of the NDDC. That is also the problem of the NDDC. One of the things the NDDC has failed to do is to see how they can issue out contracts to indigenes of the Niger Delta to the extent that the wealth being issued out in the Niger Delta remains in the Niger Delta. But most times they give out this contract to people outside of the Niger Delta. So you can see that the jobs sometimes, even if it's done or shabbily done, the profit, which is humongous, is most times exported out of the Niger Delta to buy properties outside of the Niger Delta. So okay. I am saying this to buttress your point, that yes, locals can come and demand, which is legitimate, but when it is overbearing, that is when we'll condemn it. So we support contractors subcontracting little pieces of the contract, be it from the supply of sand, stone, you know, these local things that locals can do to locals instead of exporting outside, because that is one of the things that will further enrich the environment.
All right.
And that is also what is applicable in the Ogoni cleanup.
All right. Now, Alfred, we have to leave you here now. We have to leave you here now. Certainly, the issue of subcontracting is not illegal. The issue there is making demands and conditions for work to start or commence at all is what the issue is. But we have to leave you here now. Well, let's go to what we have on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. Let's start with the Leadership newspaper, and it has as its headline, "Insurgency, Northern Governors Seek Probe of May Lafia's Allegations." And you have different writers there say claims too weighty to be swept under the carpet. DSS quizzes former CBN Deputy Governor. "I'm ready to die for my people," says May Lafia. ACF, Middle Belt, Balarabe Musa, others react to that. That's what you find on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. On the blueprint, you have the Northern Governors Forum on Insurgency, Banditry. It says May Lafia's claim on Governor Boko Haram membership weighty. That's what you find on the front pages of the Blueprint newspaper. Let's move on to National Economy. It has a different headline there. It says manufacturers, operators push for port reforms post-COVID-19, say exercise will drive efficiency, bolster revenue. That's what you find there on National Economy newspaper. On News Direct, you have illegal taxes on mining operations, urged to deduct allocations of states and local government councils. You also have double taxation driving out investors, says the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed. That's what you find on News Direct. On the Daily Times, you have Ogoni cleanup, endless wait for restoration, fair play. You find that on page 2 of the Daily Times newspaper. On Daily Trust, you have COVID-19 hits 586 local government areas. Expert blames citizens' non-compliance to guidelines. FEC approves 8.49 billion naira for test kits. Health workers threaten strike over welfare. Very interesting story there you find on
the Daily Trust newspaper. But what we're going to be discussing, gentlemen, is one major issue that is on the Guardian newspaper. And of course, it's rather troubling for persons or alumni, you know, the alumni body or persons that are from the University of Lagos. It's the issue of the council being divided over the sack of the Vice Chancellor. First of all, before I bring you in, Dari, let me bring Smart. Smart, how do you feel hearing stories like this from what we've seen, the developments we've seen from yesterday, the circular being, you know, released by one faction of the university authority saying that Professor Oguntikpe is no longer the Vice Chancellor, and you're seeing Professor Oguntikpe coming out to say that he remains the Vice Chancellor of the University of First Choice. How do you feel about that?
First, it is sad that this could be happening in a premier university like University of Lagos. And I knew it would come to this. You will see that since the coming in of Babalakin, he has not always been on the same page with management of the university. You will recall the issue of, is it convocation sometime? Babalakin said no, and the school management said yes. And you find out that there have been so many disparity in terms of press releases coming out. You see, Babalakin will come up with one, and Ogundipe will come up with one. You see, that means there is no synergy, there is no coordination. And the only way you can move a nation forward, the only way you can move an institution like UNILAG forward is that there must be synergy between the chancellor and the vice chancellor.
Yeah.
And that is why I will always give it to the late Professor Shofoluwe and also the late this man from Edo State. I've forgotten his name now.
Yeah.
See, both of them worked very, very well. And you see even most of sometimes when it's in the campus, you see them working together. You see them, and they are not discussing any other thing. They are discussing UNILAG. But since Babalaki came, Babalaki wants to run UNILAG as if it is his private empire, and the management does not want that.
If I would come in there, Smart, let me just come in there. You know, let's just first of all understand, is it more of an individual issue or an institutional issue? Yeah. Let me ask you, Dari, do you see it as more of an institutional issue, not just an individual issue? Because this is not just happening in the University of Lagos. You had the NMA in Enugu State have this kind of rancor, you know, days back. You have some other agencies or institutions in the government.
Just last week here, we were discussing NIPOST versus FIRS. Before then, it was one agency against the other. I think it is high time for this government to take steps that will reassure Nigerians that it is still united. We cannot divorce this UNILAG, Council versus Senate, Vice Chancellor versus Registrar issue from the same issue of a house divided against itself. And it is worrisome. If having said that, we must quickly say that we must save the university system from infiltration. I am not about to say who is right or who is wrong. Except we want to pretend about it. We know that the chairman of council and the vice chancellor and some other organs in the university have been at loggerheads over time. But the sack of Professor Ogundipe, in the manner it has been done, is unacceptable because the university should still be independent. The rules establishing the university provided for how a VC can be appointed as well as how he can be removed. So if he must be removed for any reason, I think this is a slap on the independence of the university. Not only about UNILAG. If we allow this to happen in UNILAG, before you need to go in other institutions. And before you know it, the academia will become bottled up, caged. Nobody should see this as a fight for Professor Ogundipe, whose tenure the Senate says they are pleased with. ASU said they are okay with him. The students, so if he has issues with the council, such issues should be addressed on its merits and demerit. It should not be seen that the university system is about to lose its independence. It is one of the things most cherished by the academia. If we take that away, I'm sorry, very little will be left that we'll be proud of. And university is not, I mean, it's not just any other institution.
Yeah.
This is why we breed ideas. We breed, I mean, characters. So if we take away the pride of we run our own show, we are not under any form of gagging, then we'll be doing a lot of injustice.
Yeah.
The issue should be looked at on the merit. Professor Ogundipe has said he's still the
Vice Chancellor of the institution.
The ASU said they would not agree to his removal. Senate is saying he was removed unjustly and so it's null and void.
Yeah.
So all this should be taken into merit by the government now. The visitor to the university has a final say.
Hopefully, you know, we're going to see a lot of meetings going on today to see how they are able to quell that fire.
The various unions are meeting.
Of course.
In a matter of hours.
Let's bring in Smart. Let's bring in Smart. Smart, you know, if you remember correctly, when former President Goodluck Jonathan came up with the idea of renaming the institution into Moshood Abiola University, the alumni body cried out. You know, even the students went on rampage, they went protesting and all. Are you very confident, or are you, you know, we've seen that the alumni body is not really saying so much. Even the student body is not saying so much to see that this problem is actually tackled.
Well, it happened so late, and I'm sure it happened so late yesterday evening. I'm sure before the end of today, the media will be awash with the reaction of the alumni, which I am part of. The media will be awash with the reaction of all well-meaning Nigerians. The media will be awash with also the ASU is going to come up with, the ASU Unilag branch is going to come up with theirs. You see, the simple fact is that they have Babalaki and his team have followed the wrong step, and we must not allow this to go on. We must resist this. If I'm not saying Ogundipe should remain, but if Ogundipe have done the wrong thing, remove him. But please follow procedure. I am somebody that has always advocated that if we must do things, let's do things in a civilized manner. The way it was done, honestly, is not civilized. It is undemocratic. Let us do it democratically. And this is why, again, it pains me that we have a government like this, just like Daria, my friend, have said. You see, we cannot have a house that is always divided against itself. Yeah. Now they brought it into the education system. Everywhere is divided. Governors is not on the same page with Mr. President on COVID-19. The Federal Inland Revenue is not in the same page with Nigeria, with NIPOST. I mean, all these things is wrong. I was trying to remember on Sunday.
We might have to cut you there. We might have to cut you there. We do not have so much time to discuss it. Of course, it's a burning issue, especially for those who, you know, are very familiar with the University of Lagos. They say it's a school of first choice. You know, it's just appalling that something like this would happen in the school of first choice. Dare Odufo, thank you so much for your thoughts on TVC Breakfast. And Smart Akweje, it's good to see you via Skype. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC Breakfast.